Welcome back to my channel for this week's Human Design Transit Report. And today is Monday, January 9th, 2023. Here we are diving into the new year. And I'm just kind of coming out of my winter cocoon and starting to get ready for the year. The transit that we're in today, I talked about in last week's Human Design Transit Report. So I would suggest that you go and check out that one if you want to see what's happening right now and tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, the 11th, we have the next upcoming transit. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And if you're new to the transits, go and watch this video that it just says the essentials that you need to know so that you kind of understand what's going on here. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So on Wednesday, the sun is going to move into the gate 61, which is right here. It's the very beginning of the knowing circuit. And the earth is going to move into the gate 62, which is over here on the throat. And it's part of the logic or the pattern circuit. Now, these two energies cause what my teacher, Karen Curry Parker, would call a conundrum. And I like to call it a creative tension. That's because the knowing circuit is individual circuitry, whereas the logic or the pattern circuit is collective circuitry. They're really quite different from each other. So the 61, which is the beginning of the knowing circuit as individual circuitry is here to be different. It's here to bring change. It's mutative. It doesn't fit in. It's highly intuitive. It's not rational or reasonable or logical, any of those things. Whereas the logic circuit or the pattern circuit is collective circuitry, which is really kind of about the big picture, and it has to do with kind of global things. But the logic circuit in particular is what you would think. It is left-brained energy, and it's logical, reasonable, analytical, linear, strategic, all of those things. And so can be a tension between individual circuitry and logic circuitry, or knowing in particular and logic, because the things that we come to know through the knowing circuit are not things we can prove. They're not something that you learn in a book or you learn in a video or anything like that. They're like downloads that you get from superconsciousness. Whereas the logic circuit is all about, okay, so, how can I know how do I know what I know? Well, I'm going to be rational. I'm going to be reasonable. I'm going to do research about it. I'm going to be strategic about it. I'm going to know that I can definitely replicate this and so on, right? It's that kind of energy. So the two of them can sometimes feel a little bit at odds. And yet we need both of them. So really what we want to be able to do is to receive and utilize the best of both without having them beat up on each other. So the 61, which is what the sun is lighting up, is, like I said, is that very beginning of the knowing circuit. And we also have a complete channel here because the north node is lighting up the 24, which is the mate of the 61. So we've got a defined head and a defined ajna during this transit also. So that means that we're going to have a greater sense of certainty. We're going to have a real sense of knowing what we know. And the invitation is for you to be able to be open to the knowings that come to you. This is called the channel of awareness. And so it is our ability to receive really what's coming through. So like the disempowered expression of the 61 is when we disbelieve, right? We don't believe, or we discard our insights. We double guess the insights that we have, the intuitions that we have. We just throw away the epiphanies and so on, right? We basically don't trust our inner knowing. That's a very disempowered state. Now, the shadow state is when you use your intuition, and particularly that inner knowing that you have, to try to control other people or situations. It typically comes out of fear, which can be disguised, right? Because it's not necessarily showing as fear so much. But usually whenever there's this kind of control and manipulation thing going on, underneath there, the fear is really driving it. So that's the shadow of expression, where we're trying to get power over a situation or a person or a group of people, right? So that we can feel more safe. We're evolving out of the power over paradigm, right? And the disempowered part. So we're moving into the awakened expression, or the empowered expression of the 61 is its name, which is wonder, right? It's our ability to wonder. It's a kind of open-mindedness. It requires a receptivity, an ability to just kind of put any, left brain energies to the side and be willing to receive what is coming to us from superconsciousness right through that 6124. It's actually a superpower when we can allow ourselves to trust it. We've been so highly conditioned not to trust our intuition, unfortunately. But I have a whole series on intuition, and you should go check it out here if you're interested in finding out more about intuition. I have a couple more videos I'm going to add to that. I think I've done 5 so far, or 6, and I've got 2 or 3 more to do, because I'm a big believer in the power and the significance of intuition. And the 6124 is a beautiful, beautiful example of it. It's about, can we receive and trust and learn to act on the blessings that we get from the creative intelligence of the universe, which is coming in right here through that 6124. You can see actually in this painting, I didn't think about it until this moment, you can see in this painting, this is an example of that type of connection, right? Which is where this is my very first painting of my legendary self, receiving information from her guardian angel. Okay, so that was a painting that I did some years ago, but that's one example of being able to receive from the creative intelligence of the universe, whether you think of that as an angelic presence, if you just think of it as the universe or the unified field, or if you have different non-physical beings that you work with, whether that's, Mother Mary or Buddha or whoever it might be. But the point is that our intelligence is far greater than just this computer mind that we have. As brilliant and as helpful as it is, we have an intelligence and the ability to tap into intelligence that's much larger than that. And that is what's coming in through this channel. Now, the Earth is in the gate 62, which is, as I said, is in the logic circuit or the pattern circuit. And so it is logical, and it's called details in traditional human design or preparation in quantum human design. And so it's an energy of being able to, having received the downloads that are coming through the logic circuit, right, which comes in through the left brain, crosses over and goes down here to the throat, which is where that 62 is. It is receiving these details, right? And it's going, okay, I'm getting some information here. I need to gather more information and I need to prepare, right? It's about preparation, getting all the details that I need in order to prepare. It's an important skill for us to develop. The disempowered aspect of it is when we worry that we're not prepared enough. People who have a first line profile tend to do this. People who maybe have the gate 48 defined in their charts also tend to do this. So just know that depending on what the rest of your design is you can have other aspects that are prone to this as well, and they kind of feed on each other. It's like, oh no, I never know enough. I need to learn more. I always need to prepare. And this can really hold you back from being able to engage with life. And it can also just kind of make you nutty by feeling like you have to prepare. And then you realize later on, oh gosh, I didn't have to do so much of that work, right? And so the more awakened expression of it is when you can trust that you're going to have all the details and all the preparation that you need for whatever it is that you're doing, right? That you can trust your own ability to discern when enough is enough. Now, the shadow aspect of it, again, which is that power over part, right, is when we either try to judge other people for not being prepared enough or not having enough details or having the details wrong, that sort of thing, right? It's like really kind of going over or trying to force people to go and to prepare things in a way that are not necessarily right for them, and make them distrust their own inner sense of when enough is enough. Another aspect of that shadow is when you might be preparing with the intention that you are going to win in your competition, whatever that is. Right? Is that you're doing it so that you can be better than other people. Now, let me have a caveat there, because if you're an athlete, of course that's what you're doing, right? If you're a professional athlete or a college athlete or somebody who's in competition, right? You're doing it for that reason, but competition can either be really like negative, where you're trying to basically kill your competition, or it can be very stimulating, where everybody's doing their best and you're driving each other to do better. And that can be very exciting and uplifting. So competition isn't necessarily a negative thing, but in so much, particularly of our business world, competition is really about overcoming and overwhelming the other people in the same industry as you. And so if you are then preparing and getting all your ideas together in order to be able to try to, suppress the other people in your industry, for one thing, it's kind of a losing way to do business, I'll just say, but this is the way a lot of people have been trained. So if we put these two together, and how can we have the energy of this 62 and the 61 dance together, right? So the earth is lighting up that 62. So if we can ground ourselves, yes, in preparing, yes, in doing the strategic work that we need to do, the analytical work that we need to do, yes, doing all of that and grounding ourselves in that, and knowing that, yes, I can prepare as much as I need, and that I'll know when I am fully prepared, and I don't have to stress out about it. I don't have to worry about it. I can just do my work, and I can trust the inner sense that it is enough. When I do that, I'm able to then actually be more open to non-logical information coming in, to these insights, these epiphanies, these downloads from superconsciousness. And so I can really bring that in, and I can shine it out, knowing that I've also done this kind of practical left brain kind of energy. And so I can have both of these working at the same time. They do not have to compete with each other. They do not have to fight with each other. If particularly that logic part can be like, yeah, okay, I've got it all handled. I've got it all handled. And because of that, I can actually receive some things that are maybe pretty out of the box, maybe pretty mutative. Mutative meaning here to be to bring change, right? So these two really can dance together. And for people who have this in their incarnation cross, right, they have this in their own birth chart, it's really important to learn how to work with both of those energies, because you don't want one of them to really throw the other one off. Like, you also don't want your knowing circuit to basically, tell your logic circuit, you're just too, left brain, you're too mental, you don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't want that either. We want all of us, and we want all of our faculties available to us. I have a request for you. I put out a poll on YouTube saying that I was considering to change the way I'm doing my transit reports, so that instead of doing one transit every week, to do a transit report every month, and it would be a somewhat longer video, but no longer than 30 minutes probably. And it would focus more on trends than it would on the individual gates. Because the way that I do the transit reports right now, I really focus on the individual gates, as I just did, focusing on the 61 and then the 62 and the dynamic between them, right? So I would love for you to put in the comments or go and respond to the poll, which is in the community tab of my YouTube channel, and just let me know, like, do you want me to stick with doing these once a week where I'm focusing primarily on one transit and two gates? Or would you prefer for me to do them less often, just once a month, but then do a video that is more about the trends, and I would not go so deeply into the gates? Please let me know. I want to create videos that you want to see. So this is a way that you can help me out. And I want to invite you to join us in our Becoming Sovereign Virtual Retreat Center. We're just starting to get going for the new year. And we're going to have a couple of live events happening in the center. And also there's curated courses that are already in there. There's conversations that are getting going. And I have some really great plans that we're going to do in this month and going forward into 2023. For right now, it's free. There will always be a free aspect to it. So I invite you to come on and, introduce yourself. I'd love to get to know you. The link for that will be in the description, and it'll be here at the end of the video. Okay. Many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.